In a school classroom, Yi suddenly wakes up in shock, as if he has returned to the moment before the college entrance exam. Awakens is the #1 high school in the Xia Kingdom, and in grade 3, class 7, Yi abruptly stands up, panicking and shouting as if trapped inside a horror story. He yells that if reincarnation is unavoidable, it should at least happen after he has entered college. Suddenly, unfamiliar memories begin flooding his mind. Since ancient times, humanity on Blue Star has suffered from a catastrophic phenomenon known as secret realm invasions. These secret realms connect to other worlds filled with terrifying monsters, which sometimes exploit spatial rifts to invade the human world. Powerful monsters are capable of destroying multiple nations and threatening the survival of human civilization itself. To resist this threat, humanity developed the beast gene system, allowing people to inject beast genes, awaken monster templates, and unlock genetic talents. Only warriors who awaken such powers can protect civilization, which causes them to enjoy far higher status and treatment than ordinary people. As a result, Blue Star entered an era where martial strength reigns supreme, and cultivation stands above all else. Soon after, Yi receives a notification stating that the world traversal introduction is complete and that the host body's memories are now being implemented. After absorbing these memories, Yi realizes that the original owner of this body was a high school student. While he is still processing this information, his classmates turn around and begin mocking him, teasing whether Yi, who is widely seen as a loser, still plans to take the college entrance exam. Due to his sudden outburst earlier, one female classmate laughs and jokingly says that he must be having another nightmare. Wang Xing, another student who frequently bullies Yi, openly mocks him and tells him to drop out of school and become an ordinary laborer for the rest of his life. This deeply angers Yi, as he reflects that many bullied protagonists always seem to face humiliating situations. As Yi absent-mindedly looks ahead while thinking, he realizes that the original owner of this body had a very poor reputation in class. The reason for this was that the original student's parents suffered an accident during his second year, causing him to lose focus on both training and academics. His previously decent grades sharply declined, turning him into a burden on the class average. While Yi is lost in thought, Xing becomes irritated, mistakenly believing he is staring at her, and challenges him aggressively. Yi snaps back to reality, confused about what he was even looking at, realizing he was only thinking. Although the original student neglected his studies, Yi is now the one bearing the consequences. He feels frustrated and resentful about inheriting such an embarrassing and unpopular life. At that moment, the professor enters the classroom and asks whether everyone is ready, as they are about to begin the genetic modification serum injections. The professor encourages the students to be confident, reminding them that 3 years of physical training and martial energy cultivation were all leading up to this day. He adjusts his glasses and adds a remark aimed at those who had never taken their training seriously. As the professor continues speaking, Yi thinks that the situation feels unreal. Although he was not the one who previously slacked off, he has now inherited this role and resolves to correct the original owner's mistakes and do everything properly. Later, at the gene injection hall, all the students gather and excitedly chat about which tier of beast gene they might awaken, such as a Tier 3 mountain splitter or a Tier 4 sea bridge dragon. Another student jokingly laughs and bets that someone will only awaken a Tier 1 weak beast. Soon, the machine carrying the injections and serums arrives. The professor explains that this is the Gene Awakening Serum, containing the primal genes of all magical beasts recorded by human warriors. After injection, each student will randomly absorb a gene and awaken its power, and generally, the stronger one's physique, the stronger the awakened gene. The professor reassures everyone to remain calm, explaining that once injected, they simply need to accept the surge of power. He then announces that only students whose names are called should step forward. One by one, students receive the injection, many crying out loudly afterward. Eventually, it is Yi's turn. As he walks onto the stage, he remarks that everyone reacted strangely after the injection, suggesting it will not be easy. Yi injects the serum without hesitation. His eyes briefly glow bluish, but nothing else seems to happen. The professor observes that Yi does not appear to have changed much. Yi responds that perhaps he received a defective dose. Xing laughs mockingly and taunts him, saying it looks like he failed to awaken anything at all. She continues taunting, saying that Yi is completely doomed, because a warrior who has not awakened is like a bird without wings. Xing goes on to claim that this situation suits Yi perfectly, since he no longer needs to pursue the path of a warrior and can simply return home and live an uneventful life. Hearing her remarks, Yi finds Xing extremely irritating and begins to wonder whether she was the one leading the bullying against him all along. Suddenly, Yi experiences an unfamiliar sensation, and a system window appears, stating that he has acquired the infinite monster template. At this moment, Yi's physique is rated E. His martial skills include the 9th student basic chi technique, blocking palm, and iron body technique, and the monster templates have already been extracted. Noticing Yi behaving strangely, Xing questions what he is doing and tells him to stop pretending if he did not awaken anything. After gathering himself, Yi urgently tells everyone to leave the area, but Xing ignores his warning entirely. Yi continues insisting that if they do not leave, it will soon be too late. Unable to hold back any longer, Yi releases the energy he has been suppressing. Xing, being the closest, is sent flying backward by the impact. Not only her, but several other students are also struck by the force, and many of them are left shocked after sensing such a powerful aura. Lu and Chu Zhou also perceive this overwhelming presence, causing Zhou to wonder whether someone stronger than himself has appeared. Another system window emerges, revealing that Yi has obtained an A-rank template known as Mad Flame, Demola. The bloodline abilities of this template include Scorching Breath, Molten Pulse, and Spore Absorption. The advanced form currently unlocked is Flame Lord, Demola, while full template compatibility must be achieved once it reaches 100%. At present, compatibility stands at only 3%. Feeling the immense power surging within him, Yi looks at what he calls his golden finger, wondering if the system is truly responsible for granting him this strength. Yi's classmates soon realize that the earlier explosion of aura was caused by him. As he instantly forced everyone back, the class erupts into discussion, questioning what kind of template Yi could have awakened to cause such an effect. Once everything settles down, Yi smiles apologetically and explains that he caused a disturbance during his awakening. He adds that he warned them to step back, but no one listened. Shortly afterward, the principal announces that all awakened third-year students should proceed to the testing building to determine which magical beast gene they have awakened and to assess their martial arts levels. Upon hearing the announcement, all the students head toward the facility, where the gene breakthrough detection device is capable of analyzing both magical beast genes and martial cultivation levels. The testing begins, and Li Xinyuan from their class awakens a third-tier magical beast bloodline known as the Swift Spine Bug. The students remark that Xinyuan is extremely fortunate, as he was previously average in class but has now risen to the top. Next, Zhou's statistics are revealed, and everyone agrees that he truly lives up to his reputation as the top student of the grade. Not only is he a level 9 martial apprentice, but he has also awakened the strongest bloodline among third-tier beasts, the Ice Demon Dragon. At this point, many students believe that Zhou could become Awakens City's future champion. However, they are left stunned when Lu's data appears, revealing that she has awakened a rare stage for bloodline known as the Nether Sparrow, making her the top scorer in the province. If a stage for beast manifests in its true form, it could devastate most of a city, and to such a being, ordinary warriors would be insignificant, with only grandmasters capable of resisting it. After reviewing all these status panels, Yi realizes that everyone else's awakened beast templates are classified as Stage 3 or Stage 4, while his own is labeled as A-class for reasons unknown. Eventually, it is Yi's turn to be tested, and because of the earlier incident, many eyes are focused on him, believing that he might reveal something extraordinary. This makes Yi reflect on how deeply the world revolves around martial power. As Yi enters the testing chamber, the students grow excited, eagerly anticipating what kind of bloodline he might possess. Many whisper that his level must be high and that they cannot wait to see the results. Zhou also notices Yi's name and believes that he is someone worth paying attention to. However, once the assessment concludes, The device only detects that Ihi's martial cultivation is at stage 3, while his beast bloodline and other data remain unknown. Seeing this result, Ihi's classmates burst into laughter, claiming that even younger students could defeat him. Ihi once again becomes the target of ridicule, with everyone labeling him as a hopeless case. As Ihi exits the testing chamber, he calmly reflects that it was expected his template would not be detected, but this triggers a new system prompt related to the infinite monster template, presenting an upgrade guide. The system explains that additional monster templates can be obtained by completing quests or increasing reputation, though the current number of available draws is 0. Ihi realizes that his templates differ fundamentally from those of others, but as long as he fulfills the required conditions, he can obtain monster templates endlessly. With a confident smirk, Ihi concludes that this path could allow him to become the king of monsters. After the assessments are completed, Ihi goes to his homeroom teacher and informs him that he wants to take a break to study at home and then return to take the college entrance exam. The professor asks whether Ihi truly believes he can manage studying on his own. Ihi clenches his fist and tells the professor that he genuinely wants to do this. He admits that he has fallen far behind and that this is precisely why he needs special training now. Otherwise, there is no hope of catching up with everyone else. The professor looks at Ihi seriously and states that if he wants to become a warrior, the only proper path is through college. The professor acknowledges that Ihi has awakened his bloodline, but his foundation is far too weak, making it nearly impossible for him to pass the entrance exam. For this reason, the professor advises Ihi not to rush and instead prepare to repeat the year and try again next year. Ihi raises his voice, expressing how desperate he is to improve. He believes the professor may not fully understand, but Ihi knows he has awakened a powerful bloodline, and as long as he trains diligently, he is confident he can succeed. Ihi then asks the professor to look into his eyes and judge his sincerity, insisting that he would never lie about something like this. Observing Ihi closely, the professor comments that his eyes do indeed appear sincere. In the end, the professor agrees to grant Ihi a break to study at home, while still remarking that Ihi will most likely return to repeat the year. Afterward, Ihi leaves the school and heads to the Awakens Warrior Center. Along the way, Ihi evaluates his family's financial situation. His parents' house was mortgaged for $600,000, and combined with their accident compensation of over $1 million, he now has a reasonable amount of startup capital. To improve his strength, Ihi currently has 2 options: leveling up as a warrior or increasing the compatibility rate with Demora's template. Ihi becomes curious about where the extra 2 compatibility points came from, since according to the infinite monster template data, each template should start with only 1 point of compatibility. However, Demora clearly began with 3 points. Ihi concludes that there is only one explanation. The Demora template absorbed power from the genetic awakening serum and gained 2 additional points of compatibility. This discovery confirms that gene-related serums in this world can enhance template abilities. As a result, instead of pushing himself through extreme physical training like a traditional warrior, Ihi decides that spending money to raise template compatibility suits him better. That is why Ihi resolves to purchase a gene-enhancing serum as soon as possible. Upon arriving at the entrance, Ihi uses his student card to enter the Warrior Center, and the moment he steps inside, he senses that everyone present has already awakened their bloodlines. After awakening the Mad Flame Demora template, Ihi gained a unique sensory ability called the Life Magnetic Field, which allows Demora to sense the life signals emitted by living beings. Through this ability, Ihi can clearly perceive the warrior's chi, accompanied by the presence of powerful beastly energy in their bloodlines. Ihi adopts a battle-ready expression, realizing that he can barely suppress the rising fighting instinct within him. After all, Mad Demora is the king of beasts in its original world, a being destined to dominate all life. Unfortunately, Ihi is still only a beginner, so he can suppress Demora's instincts for now, but once he grows stronger, he vows to show the world what it truly means to be the king of beasts. While he is murmuring to himself, someone suddenly places a hand on his shoulder, startling him. He turns around and sees a tall, intimidating woman advising him not to casually observe others so openly. Ihi immediately apologizes, explaining that he had no ill intentions. She replies that it is fine, guessing that Yi has only recently awakened his monster gene, and that difficulty controlling one's abilities is normal at this stage. She then asks what brought him to the Warrior Center. Yi explains that he is here to purchase genetic medicine, but since the place is so large, he is having trouble finding his way and asks for her help. Hearing this, she asks whether he is already planning to use gene-enhancing medicine at his current stage. Yi responds with confusion, asking if there is something wrong with that. She reassures him that there is nothing wrong, but explains that gene medicine is expensive and can easily lead to resistance, reducing its effectiveness over time. She advises that warriors typically wait until their bloodline reaches a bottleneck before using such medicine to maximize its effects. Upon hearing this, Yi asks about the price of a gene potion. She explains that given Yi's age, he can only use the solid-type beginner potion, which costs around 4,000. Yi is shocked by the high price, realizing that even if he spent all his savings, he would not be able to afford many doses. He then asks whether there is any way to receive a discount. With a confident smile, she hands him her business card and tells him that with a veteran warrior's referral, he may be eligible for a discount. Yi accepts the card and thanks her sincerely. Huang Li waves at him before leaving, telling him they may meet again in the future. Next, Yi begins shopping for everything he needs to level up. He first pays the required fees at the warrior hospital, and then visits the weapon shop, where he purchases a weapon originally priced at 360,000 for 250,000 thanks to a discount. After spending heavily, night falls, and Yi uses the gene potions to raise his template compatibility from 3% to 4%, and then directly from 4% to 7%. As a result, Yi's overall stats increase from 8 to 15, officially reaching armed rank 7. Upon checking his updated status, Yi comments with satisfaction that this is what leveling up feels like. With each dose of gene potion, his physique improves, but by the final dose, the increase is minimal. This leads him to realize that as his body grows stronger, triggering further base mutations becomes increasingly difficult. Even so, Yi considers the results impressive, as he achieved in just a few minutes what others would normally need 3 years to accomplish. Moreover, he did this using only his base physical stats, leading him to believe that if he activates Demora's bloodline power, he may truly have a chance to become the top contender in the upcoming exam. Yi looks at his hands with a smile and remarks that if a cheat-like advantage still cannot surpass geniuses, then such a cheat would be far too weak. Afterward, Yi decides to head toward a secret realm. Secret realm rifts are ranked from S to E, with higher ranks containing far stronger beasts. Beasts within S-rank realms are entirely beyond human control, and if such creatures were ever to invade the real world, it would result in a catastrophic disaster. Yi enters an E-rank secret realm and notices that there are fewer people than he expected. He assumes this is because the realm has been developed for a long time. Being an old realm, most valuable resources have already been claimed, leaving only weaker beasts for rookie warriors to train against. Yi approaches the reception counter and greets the receptionist, informing him that he has booked access to Secret Realm number 3. While watching television, the receptionist asks Yi to sign a risk waiver, which serves as his entry ticket. After completing the necessary procedures, Yi approaches the Secret Realm gate and smiles confidently, declaring that this marks the beginning of his rise toward becoming the king of beasts. He then steps into the portal and arrives within the Secret Realm. Just as Earth has a sun and countless stars, this realm possesses its own celestial bodies, such as the Kanglan Star, Onway Star, and Taijin Star. Although Yi has seen illustrations of secret realms in textbooks, experiencing one in person feels entirely different. He praises the scene as truly magnificent, admiring the clear and expansive starry sky. While he is speaking, a red-colored first-rank rabbit-like beast known as a Bladefang suddenly attempts to ambush him. However, just before it strikes, Yi instantly grabs the Bladefang and smirks, asking whether it truly thought he would not sense it approaching. Yi confidently notes that his awareness comes from the life magnetic field ability. He quickly defeats the Bladefang and retrieves its magic core, which is white, of average quality, and likely worth around 1,000 yuan. Having earned 1,000 yuan within minutes of entering the realm, Yi remarks that the efficiency is impressive. He reflects that ordinary people work tirelessly for an entire month to earn only 3 to 4,000 yuan. However, he also acknowledges that collecting too many first-rank beast cores is inefficient, and that it would be better to hunt at least a second-rank beast. Almost as soon as he finishes speaking, a second-rank creature known as a demon bug appears. Ihi smirks and draws his weapon, ready to engage. Ihi attacks the monster with his sword. Having studied the monster encyclopedia, he knows that compared to the steel-like shell on its back, the softer armor on the abdomen of the demon bug is much easier to break through. The monster launches another attack, prompting Ihi to use a martial technique called Hyper Beam to strike it with condensed energy. However, the monster does not fall and instead fires projectiles from its mandibles. Ihi quickly dodges, but his newly purchased outfit gets scratched in the process. This infuriates Ihi, who shouts in frustration, complaining about how expensive the outfit was. At Ihi's current martial level, he realizes that he cannot properly deal with this creature. Without powerful martial techniques to support him, even with strong Dantian energy and robust blood vitality, he can only exert about 50% of his true strength. The reason for this limitation is that the original owner of this body was academically focused and severely lacking in combat training. As a result, Ihi has no choice but to rely on an unconventional method. He decides to activate Mad Demora's Emperor Demon Bloodline. Once activated, Ihi's hand transforms into a dragon-like form, and his overall empowerment rises from 15 to 21. In the very next moment, Ihi launches a decisive counterattack, overpowering the monster at close range and defeating it. With Ihi's physique temporarily surging to 20 points, the Tier 2's demon bug is completely overwhelmed. After deactivating the transformation, Ihi is left needing to expel the excess heat within his body, which makes him feel like a machine running at full output. In addition, the short sword he recently purchased becomes unusable after reacting with the demon bug's venom. This causes Ihi to complain internally that despite costing 250,000, the weapon could not even withstand a Tier 2 encounter, making it feel like a poor investment. He decides that he will leave a negative review later. Soon after, Ihi begins to feel hungry and wonders if the energy consumption from his first monster battle was simply too high. He considers his options, realizing that he did not bring any food with him. Suddenly, Ihi notices a tempting aroma emanating from the green magic core of the demon bug. Without thinking too deeply, he consumes it. After doing so, the compatibility of Ihi's Mad Demora monster template increases from 7% to 7.3%. Ihi is astonished by this result and smiles, remarking that after spending hundreds of thousands on gene potions to gain a single % of compatibility, this one green magic core increased it by 0.3%. He concludes that consuming 3 or 4 such magic cores would be equivalent to an entire gene potion. Ihi then reasons that the white magic cores obtained from the Bladefang rabbits should also increase compatibility, at least slightly. This realization makes him lament how much money he wasted relying on expensive shortcuts. Turning his frustration into motivation, Ihi resolves to hunt as much as possible throughout the night. He places a finger against his forehead and activates the life magnetic field to sense nearby living beings. By the next afternoon, Ihi exits the secret realm carrying a large bag filled with magic cores. His Mad Demora template compatibility has now reached 9%, and his overall physique has increased to 15.8. As he walks toward the service counter, Ihi reflects that once compatibility reached 9%, consuming additional white magic cores no longer produced any increase. Because of this, he decides to sell the remaining cores for currency instead. Ihi submits all the magic cores at the counter, informing the staff member that he has collected a total of 20 white magic cores and 3 green magic cores. The receptionist is shocked and questions whether Ihi is serious, stating that it is nearly impossible for a high school student to collect so many cores. According to government regulations, martial artists must submit 1/10 of their loot as tax. As a result, Ihi hands over 5 white magic cores and receives 200,000 in credit in return. At this point, only 9 days remain before the college entrance exam. Meanwhile, in a D-class secret realm, Old Lu asks Captain Lin whether they will be able to complete the Blood Jade Flower bounty mission this time. Captain Lin replies that during their previous exploration, they already located the general area of the blood jade flower, but since Chun was injured during a monster encounter, he will not be able to join them this time. Xiao Xia asks if that means they are short on members, and Xiao Wu agrees, pointing out that regulations require at least 6 people to enter a D-class secret realm. Captain Lin then points toward a shady-looking individual and reassures the team not to worry, explaining that he contacted an agency to introduce a new martial artist to their group. That martial artist turns out to be none other than Yi He. He is a level 9 martial disciple, known by the nickname Dadsla. Since Yi He is still a student and not qualified to enter a D-class secret realm, he is forced to use an underground agency to create a fake identity in order to join the team. Creating this identity costs him 100,000 credits. Captain Lin remarks that the nickname Dadsla feels a bit strange. Maintaining a straight face, Yi He responds that he had no choice. Captain Lin shrugs it off, saying that it is only a nickname anyway. He then points out that at Martial Disciple level 9, Yi He does not truly qualify for a D-class secret realm. Therefore, Captain Lin instructs Yi He that the team will allow him to observe and learn, but he must be careful not to slow them down. Yi He agrees, privately thinking that Captain Lin seems quite reliable, as he clearly defines responsibilities before the mission rather than creating problems midway through. After that, the team gets into their vehicle and enters the D-class secret realm to search for the blood jade flower. Once inside the realm, they discuss the flower's location, which the tracker indicates is in an oasis ahead. The tracker also shows that the area is guarded by a Tier 2 monster with a general-level bloodline. As they ride along, Yi He reflects that the last secret realm he entered was a rainforest, while this one is a desert, leading him to suspect that secret realms are not connected to a single world. Moments later, their vehicle is chased by earth demon rats. Captain Lin immediately orders Hood to handle the situation. Hood quickly grabs his daggers and eliminates the pursuing creatures with ease. Watching this, Yi He realizes that Hood is infusing martial energy into his thrown weapons, causing them to detonate on impact. From this, Yi He concludes that Hood is efficient and ruthless, preferring action over words. After driving for some time, the team stops the vehicle and proceeds on foot. Yi He asks why they are not continuing by car, even though the oasis is still some distance away. Captain Lin explains that the monsters near the oasis are extremely sensitive, and the noise from an off-road engine would immediately alert them, which is why they must proceed cautiously. As they advance, Captain Lin assigns roles to each member. He instructs Ya to throw a stun grenade later to lure the target out, while Wa and Hood are to set up traps. Lu will provide suppressive support, and Lin himself will handle the front line. Lin then orders Dadsla, or Yi He, to stay back and observe the battle. The mission begins when Xia deploys the stun grenade, which contains high-level monster pheromones that make nearby creatures believe their territory is under threat, drawing them out. Triggered by the grenade, a Tier 2 monster known as an Earth Dragon emerges and charges toward the team. Lin quickly alerts Yi He about the incoming monster. The scene then shifts to the location where Hood previously defeated the Earth Demon Rats, where a bald man appears, picking up the daggers and smirking. Meanwhile, Lin and the rest of the team finally manage to bring down the Earth Dragon, with Lin delivering what appears to be the finishing strike. Afterward, Lin sheathes his sword and instructs everyone to continue moving forward. However, at that moment, the Earth Dragon suddenly finds an opening and launches another surprise attack toward Lin. Seeing this at the critical moment, Yi decides to intervene. This time, Yi successfully subdues the Earth Dragon by delivering the decisive blow using his energy beams. Witnessing such overwhelming power, Lin is astonished that Yi is still only a martial disciple, yet possesses the strength to heavily impact a Tier 2 beast. Xia is equally stunned after seeing the sheer force behind Yi's attack. The team praises Yi for defeating the Earth Dragon, and Lin thanks him sincerely for saving his life, stating that from this moment onward, they are true companions. Lin then retrieves the Earth Dragon's soul essence, which they believe to be a highly valuable gain. Xia asks whether the red, glowing object is truly that valuable, and Lin confirms that such items can greatly enhance one's template. While they are discussing this, Yi stares at the soul essence with great interest even imagining it resembling a large piece of fruit. Lin smiles and comments that the battle was extremely risky, but believes they were able to defeat the dragon and locate the blood jade flower thanks to Yi. However, in the middle of his words, Hood suddenly betrays Lin, striking him from behind while smiling and stating that there is no point dwelling on it. Everyone is left in shock after witnessing Hood's betrayal. Lin immediately turns on Hood, demanding to know what he is doing. Hood retreats and positions himself beside the bald man they encountered earlier. The bald man calmly explains that Hood is simply trying to profit, meaning he is doing it all for money. Wu recognizes the bald man as Huapeng. Yi asks whether they know this person, and Wu explains that Peng is infamous for ambushing martial artists and stealing the loot they obtain from dungeons, and that this time, Lin's team was his target. Lin, suffering from severe pain, warns his teammates that the weapon was poisoned and calls Hood a traitor. He then demands to know how Peng discovered this location, especially since even his own team only learned of the blood jade flower's whereabouts after entering the dungeon. Yi reveals that the information was hidden within the darts Hood used earlier to deal with the earth demon rats. Hood smirks and praises Yi for being perceptive, then mockingly suggests that Yi should return to school, since the college entrance exams are approaching. He adds that instead of doing so, Yi is walking straight into danger. Yi's expression sharpens as he responds that the exams are indeed approaching, and that is exactly why he has a top sorcerer position waiting for him. Hood scoffs, calling Yi arrogant, and throws a dart at him. Yi effortlessly stops it with 2 fingers, calmly stating that Hood's behavior is the real arrogance. Yi then crushes the dart with his fist, deciding it is time to deal with the situation directly. Peng watches with interest and remarks that Yi is intriguing, then orders Hood to handle him. Hood follows the order and launches a barrage of darts at Yi, but Yi disperses them all with a single powerful roar. In the next instant, Hood vanishes and uses the martial technique Mountain Splitter, attacking Yi from above. Instead of dodging, Yi sees this as the perfect opportunity to test his new ability. While Hood is still midair, Yi fires a beam attack directly at him. Lin watches in disbelief as Yi overwhelms Hood in a single exchange, prompting him to question whether Yi is truly a novice. Hood crashes to the ground. Peng recognizes the attack as a gene technique and questions Yi about which powerful family he belongs to. Yi replies that he is from the Demora clan and asks whether Peng plans to beg for mercy. Peng sneers and calls him a brat, claiming that even with gene techniques, Yi cannot overcome the vast gap in martial experience between them. Peng then activates his bloodline, known as the Tyrant Terror Black Bear, greatly enhancing his physical strength and durability. Following this, Peng uses the martial technique Peak Shaker to attack Yi. Yi smirks and counters by targeting Peng's lower body, causing Peng to cry out in pain. Peng then retaliates with powerful strikes, but Yi leaps into the air to evade them. Seeing this, Peng pursues him relentlessly. Yi comments that second-tier martial artists are truly formidable. In the next moment, Peng launches another attack that appears to connect, but it turns out Yi had already evaded it and reappears behind him, preparing his counterattack. Yi then unleashes the core fuse technique known as Mountain Crushing Fist, landing a series of heavy blows on Peng. Before long, Peng collapses to the ground, completely defeated. Captain Lin, along with Lu, Wu, and Xia, stare in awe at Yi's strength. Lying on the ground, Peng realizes that Yi possesses a technique capable of releasing toxic energy and bitterly claims that someone like Yi will eventually face consequences. This angers Yi, who responds that curses directed at him are already countless, and that Peng is merely another insignificant voice among them. Finally, the day of the entrance examinations arrives. At the Central Sports Stadium of An City, people from all around gather to watch the tournament. The commentator greets all the students and announces that the general enrollment examination for higher martial arts schools is about to begin, wishing every participant the best of luck in their martial journey. The college entrance examination adopts a competition-based system where candidates are matched in pairs, and the winner advances to the next round. The exam lasts for 3 days, with the first 2 days serving as the preliminary rounds, while the students who successfully advance will compete in the main examination on the 3rd day. Each student must participate in 3 matches during the preliminaries, and those who advance will continue competing until the top sorcerer of this year's college entrance examination is selected. What these candidates carry on their shoulders is the future of humanity itself, so the commentator urges them to display their true potential, not only for themselves, but also for mankind. With that, the commentator officially announces that the in-city higher examination has now begun. In Arena Number 1, 2 martial artists are already engaged in combat, and the same is happening in Arena Number 4. However, in Arena Number 6, there appears to be an issue, as one of the contestants has not yet arrived. Upon checking, the commentator discovers that the 2 competitors are Huang Tongtong and Yi from and City Number 1 Middle School, but only Tongtong is currently present in the arena. The commentators inform the audience that according to the rules, if Yi does not appear after the match officially begins, he will be declared to have forfeited. Tongtong releases her aura and declares that Yi previously embarrassed her during the genetic conference, which she considers the most humiliating moment of her life. She states that she originally planned to use her fire lizard to defeat Yi this time, but now believes that he is hiding and does not dare to show up. Hearing this, Yi's classmates begin to criticize him, calling him timid and claiming that he lacks the courage to even attend the college entrance examination. Some speculate that he might be hiding at home, too nervous to come out. Another student remarks that someone like him does not even deserve to attend high school and should instead be doing menial work. The referee blows the whistle, announcing that the time limit has been reached, and just as he is about to declare Yi forfeited, everyone suddenly notices a powerful presence descending from the sky. The crowd wonders whether it is a person, and soon realizes that it is none other than Yi. His classmates stare in shock, wondering what kind of strength allows someone to descend from the sky so effortlessly. Yi lands directly in the arena, leaving Tongtong confused about what is happening. In the very next instant, she sees a kick coming straight toward her. She is unable to react in time and is sent flying from the impact. Yi calmly remarks that it was a close call, as he nearly would have had to return next year. Seeing that Tongtong has lost consciousness, the referee announces Yi as the winner. Yi is slightly dissatisfied, feeling that the match ended before his opponent could even put up a fight. The students who were previously criticizing him immediately change their tune, cheering loudly and praising his strength, amazed that he defeated his opponent with a single kick. They also admire his dramatic entrance, calling it incredibly impressive. Some even joke that this must be a legendary kick descending from the sky. At this point, Yi's overall fitness has reached 226, and his monster template, Salvage Trace Demora, has reached a compatibility of 20%. Yi smirks and explains that Captain Lin gave him the Blood Jade Flower fruit as a gesture of gratitude, though it took time for the fruit's effects to fully enhance his physique. Now, Yi confidently states that everyone can relax and enjoy what comes next. The next slot is filled by Long Tao, who also secures a victory. Soon after, the match between Long Tao of and City Number 4 Middle School and Yi begins, and once again, Yi claims victory with a single kick. The spectators are thrilled, shouting that all of Yi's battles end swiftly without unnecessary delay. They enthusiastically give him the nickname One Kick Superman. In the following match, Yi wins once more, and after securing victories in all 3 preliminary matches, he successfully advances to the 3rd round. Following his wins, numerous university scouts approach him, eagerly promoting the advantages of their institutions, and several representatives begin discussing their universities with him. When one scout asks which university Yi prefers, Yi grows serious and smiles, stating clearly that he intends to enter Hudao University. Upon hearing this, the surrounding scouts fall silent and remark that he has become arrogant after reaching the finals, claiming that he will eventually return to them for help once reality challenges him later on. The brown-haired man tells Yi to remember to contact him if he fails. Yi is quite surprised, realizing that everyone already assumes he will not succeed. However, he understands that it is not entirely their fault, because Hudao University is the most prestigious martial arts university in Xia country and one of the top 5 universities in the world. To martial artists, it is considered a sacred place held in the highest regard. Yi smirks, thinking that in a second-tier city like in City, Only a handful of elites are qualified to step into that holy land, so he chooses not to correct the scouts. After all, warriors speak through strength, and he believes they will witness the result for themselves when he takes first place. While he is lost in thought, two men dressed in black suits suddenly approach him and present their identification, requesting his cooperation as they need to re-evaluate his martial arts level. After analyzing his records, they are shocked to discover that he was only at the third martial arts level just half a month ago. Upon further investigation, they find that he frequently entered E-level secret realms after leaving school. One of the men questions he about why he would enter such a risky environment before the college entrance examination. He immediately realizes that it is nearly impossible to improve at such a rapid pace in only 3 months, meaning they are implying that he may have violated the rules. To avoid suspicion, he suddenly begins crying and explains that he entered the secret realm to search for his true self. He claims that before his father passed away, he left him a message saying that if he wanted to surpass humanity, he could no longer remain ordinary. Because of this, he explains that he repeatedly entered the secret realm to train through real combat, and during one of those encounters, he broke through his genetic lock. The two men are immediately stunned and begin sweating upon hearing that he has broken his genetic lock. Declaring that such a case is unprecedented, they rush off, stating that they must report this matter to their superiors at once. He clenches his teeth, realizing that things have turned out this way and that he has somehow become a key observation target. He then sits down on a chair and scrolls through short videos, seeing many parents cheering for their children participating in the tournament. This makes he feel a wave of sadness, as there is no one cheering for him, reminding him that he truly is an orphan with no one standing behind him. What he does not know is that his homeroom teacher is quietly supporting him from afar. The next day, the first match of the promotion round finally begins, featuring versus Luo Xian from and City No. 3 Middle School. The spectators recognize Luo Xian, noting that he ranked first among students from his school, possesses 8th level martial arts strength, has awakened a second-tier magical beast bloodline, and comes from a family where both parents are warriors. Based on this, some spectators confidently declare that he has no chance of winning. Hearing these arrogant remarks, he calmly gives Luo Xian the opportunity to make the first move. Luo Xian becomes furious at this and asks if he even knows who he is. Luo Xian declares that regardless of whether he knows him or not, the result will remain the same, as he is confident he will win. With that, Luo Xian activates his bloodline and unleashes the dashing lightning claw martial art, charging toward Yi and stating that he hopes Yi is fortunate enough to endure the attack. Until the final moment, Yi does not move from his position, then effortlessly grabs Luo Xian's transformed hand and calmly remarks that while his momentum is impressive, it still falls far short of the force displayed by the earlier opponent Peng. Yi tightens his grip on Luo Xian's hand, causing him to cry out in pain and forcing the bloodline transformation to deactivate. Yi then uses a basic martial technique to knock Luo Xian to the ground and strikes a confident pose, questioning whether there are truly no worthy examinees left. The commentator promptly announces Yi as the victor. The commentator announces that Yi has secured yet another instant knockout, this time defeating the seeded contestant, Xian. The spectators are stunned, as Xian appeared extremely powerful before the fight, yet now lies on the ground in a single moment. Some spectators describe Yi as calm as drifting clouds and steady as a gentle breeze, calling it the demeanor of a true master. They now believe that Yi's abilities exist on an entirely different level compared to the other examinees. His classmates comment that even though he used his hands this time, it was still a one-hit victory. Several students openly express their admiration for Yi, while others believe that he is destined to reach the finals. As staff members carry the injured Xian away, Zhou, who is standing nearby, remarks that this outcome is exactly what he expected from Yi, the man he has been watching closely. Zhou declares that he will defeat Yi in the final round. Meanwhile, in the live broadcast room of Huadu University's admissions office, the person in charge orders his subordinates to gather all available information about Yi within 30 minutes. At the same time, in another arena, the second group's advancement matches are underway. In that arena, spectators are surprised to see a battle between two renowned prodigies. Commentator Lu Ilio expresses his excitement at officially tuning in. Kai Shaoling, also known as the Queen of Awakens Second Senior High, comments that she truly cannot understand Lu's emotionless, almost mechanical expression. Lu remains silent and offers no response. Lu is known as the unattainable flower of Awakens First Senior High. The commentator, clearly enthusiastic, remarks that few things are more exciting than watching talented fighters face off. The referee signals the start of the match, and in the very next moment, Shaoling charges toward Lu, determined to see how long Lu can maintain her composure once she gains the upper hand. Without saying a word, Lu activates her family's secret art, the Sutra of Transient Splendor. Using this technique, she redirects Shaoling's kickback toward her opponent, but the exchange does not end there. Shaoling immediately uses the Howling Gale step to stabilize herself and follows up with a punch, urging Lu to take the fight seriously. Believing she has found an opening, Shaoling presses the attack, only to realize she has fallen into Lu's trap. Her arm becomes caught within the swirling air currents created by Lu. No matter how hard Shaoling struggles, she is unable to break free. While Shaoling's arm remains restrained, Lu unleashes the Xianhuang martial skill known as the primordial chaos finger. The commentator is astonished to see that a college entrance examination candidate has mastered a Xuanhuang-level technique. He explains that with such extraordinary talent, Lu would not even need the examination to prove herself, as she could qualify for direct admission into Huadu University. However, the match is not over yet. Shaoling activates her bloodline, the Shadow Claw Tiger King, and breaks free from Lu's control. Once again, the commentator is shocked, noting that Shaoling has awakened a third-tier royal bloodline. Royal bloodlines are notoriously difficult to control, especially one as fierce as the Shadow Claw Tiger. The commentator declares that Shaoling's future potential is virtually limitless. Shaoling then demands that Lu reveal her Nether Phoenix bloodline. Maintaining her calm and distant demeanor, Lu replies that this level of effort is sufficient. This response only enrages Shaoling further, and without hesitation, she charges forward, questioning whether Lu truly believes someone below her martial level can challenge her. To counter the assault, Lu once again employs her family's secret art and follows up with the Transient Splendor Phantom technique, but Shaoling blocks it and retaliates with the martial skill Fierce Tiger's crippling kick, disrupting Lu's balance. To counter Shaoling's attack, Lu immediately uses the primordial chaos jade finger, blocking the kick. The collision of the two techniques produces an enormous cloud of dust that engulfs the arena. The commentator announces that the energies of Lu and Shaoling have collided with tremendous force, leaving the arena shrouded in dust. To build suspense before the dust settles, the commentator asks the audience who they think will claim victory. As the dust clears, Shaoling is briefly seen standing in the arena, but she soon collapses from exhaustion, leaving Lu as the only one still standing. With only her martial techniques, Lu completely overpowered Shaoling, who had reached the 9th stage of martial discipline and awakened a royal bloodline. The commentator declares her truly worthy of being called a once-in-a-century genius. Spectators begin referring to her as Queen Lu, the absolute legend. The commentator hails her as Anqing City's top sorcerer and challenges anyone to disagree. He further reveals that Lu has actually awakened a 4th-tier bloodline, meaning that most martial artists would stand no chance against her. With only the top 8 contestants remaining, a draw is held for the next matches. Yi draws number A, while another formidable competitor, Shun Guan, draws the same number. Guan approaches Yi, happily announcing that they will face each other in the upcoming match. Guan introduces himself as a student from Qingfeng Private High School. Yi also introduces himself, and Guan notes that they are scheduled to go second, so they will watch the first match. The commentator announces that the first match of the top 8 advancement tournament is between Luo Shi from Qingfeng Private High and Zhou from Anqing First Senior High. Luo Shi, though strong and having repeated a grade to intensively prepare for entry into Huadu University, is no match for Zhou. His bloodline control is polished, but against Zhou, he stands no chance. Yi, unfamiliar with Zhou, is asked by Guan if he really doesn't recognize a prominent name from his own school. The commentator then declares Zhou the winner, prompting the principal of Qingfeng Private High to grit his teeth in frustration at the swift defeat. Yi, observing, asks Guan how Luo she compares to him. Guan smiles, revealing that he is the martial arts club president of Qingfeng Private High's senior year. He adds that even if his two strongest teammates combine their strength, they would not be able to defeat him. Guan's expression shifts as he admits that, in his assessment, Yi is the only real threat in this year's examination. Guan explains that his heightened senses since childhood allow him to perceive that Yi is like a dormant volcano, with a beast hidden inside him. After this, Guan turns back casually and invites Yi to step onto the ring, as it is now their turn to fight. Both competitors take their positions, and the commentator announces the details of the upcoming match. The commentator announces that the competition for the top 8 to 4 in and city's college entrance examination is now in full swing. Yi and Shun Guan are evenly matched, their punches so powerful that the crowd can barely keep their eyes open. After taking Yi's punch, asks if this is an ability of Yi's bloodline. Guan notes that Yi's power is mysterious, capable of targeting cells directly for destruction. Observing Guan, Yi realizes that Guan has used his martial energy to form a protective barrier over his body, shielding him from the destructive effects. Guan compliments Yi, acknowledging his amazing skills and remarking that he is truly a formidable opponent not to be taken lightly. Determined to demonstrate the martial arts passed down through generations in the Shin family, Guan unleashes the Shape-Will Fist, followed by the Deer Peak, charging swiftly at Yi. The speed of Guan's attack surprises Yi, leaving him unable to dodge or counter. The commentator announces that this attack is so powerful that Yi, previously known as One-Kick Superman, has been struck for the first time, and the commentator highlights the sheer strength of Guan's Shape-Will Fist. Yi falls back, but Guan gives him no opportunity to recover. He immediately follows up with Bear Crash. Yi blocks the attack, realizing that Guan's assault is not merely physical. Guan has infused his martial energy into his strikes, doubling their effectiveness. Unlike his previous opponents, who were inexperienced and easily defeated, Yi now faces a true master. Guan then uses another skill to lock Yi's martial energy, explaining that he can not only infuse his own energy, but also suppress his opponents, rendering them temporarily powerless. Guan launches Yi into the air with Ape Hurl and follows up with Tiger Pounce, attacking him midair. He continues the assault with Eagle Dive, taunting that Yi has no chance of winning. It seems as if Guan has an entire zoo of animal-inspired techniques at his disposal. As Yi tries to defend himself while falling, Guan's attacks still hit their mark, sending up a cloud of dust around him. Landing gracefully, Guan smiles, commenting on the satisfaction of his assault. The commentator notes that Guan's relentless combination of techniques would have defeated any ordinary martial artist, and suggests that the winner seems decided. However, just as he is about to announce it, Guan notices an immense aura emanating from the dust where Yi fell. Yi emerges after activating his bloodline, complimenting Guan on his strength before taking a battle stance. He charges toward Guan, remarking that, at least, Guan is the first person to witness him in this form. The commentator explains that high school students capable of displaying a magical beast embodiment can enter Huadu University without taking the entrance exam. It is the ultimate manifestation of a magical beast, and even the commentator didn't expect that. In this small city of Awakens, there exists not only a martial arts genius like Lu, but also a bloodline prodigy. Guan is both amazed and terrified upon seeing Yi's form, never imagining that his bloodline awakening could reach such an overwhelming level. The commentator notes that each examiner is equipped with monitoring headphones to observe candidates, tracking various factors inside and outside the arena. A silver-haired elder also senses the aura and discovers that the nuclear radiation level has reached 99 million, far beyond normal limits, leaving him questioning what is happening. The commentator continues, explaining that upon witnessing Yi's magical beast embodiment, the examiners recognized a potential danger and encased the arena in martial energy to prevent any nuclear leakage. For the first time, the students witness the true power of bloodline awakening. They are fascinated, speculating about the magical beast Yi has awakened. One student remarks that he is from number 1 middle school and has heard he awakened an unknown bloodline. Others wonder how such a powerful being could remain unknown. He confirms their suspicions silently. There are no creatures like Demora on Blue Star, which is why no one knows about it. Just standing before, nervously, he admits that his martial arts shield can no longer block Ihi's energy and realizes he cannot prolong the fight. Determined, Guan awakens his own bloodline, the Golden Star Ape Demon. The commentator announces that this is another third-order king bloodline, emphasizing that this year's college entrance examination is packed with extraordinary candidates. Guan launches his attack first, using Snake Strike, but Ihi counters effortlessly with Mountain Arresting Fist. Guan's arm is filled with injuries. Guan realizes that the previous fuss he made pales in comparison to the reality of facing Ihi. As Ihi advances, his aura intensifying, he praises Guan's strength, but makes it clear that no matter how outstanding Guan is, the outcome cannot change.